Okay, we're finally live. Welcome to episode 0 of This and That Media. Explaining the vision, the intro episode. I've been talking about starting this show for years now, and the witching hour is upon us at last. Welcome to episode 0 of This and That in its true podcast form. I've done a couple of UFO special presentations that are on my YouTube channel, but that was back during my university days for a journalism class a few years back. This episode is the actual beginning of something I've been preparing for over 5 years now. It all started with a COVID-induced gap year before college in 2020, and living by myself in a few different cities, namely Costa Rica, really catapulted me to become, hyper introspective and start the beginning of my lifelong quest for truth and my obsession with consuming meaningful media and peeling back the layers of reality. And so since 2020 and all throughout college, I've been an absolute media junkie. I've watched a disgusting amount of movies and shows. I've been nonstop taking notes on podcasts and documentaries and turning them into articles and then dissertations. And that was before my social media channels and my websites even existed. I was legit just raw dogging articles and creating rankings and playlists on Google Drive for probably about 3 years before getting around to starting my websites and social channels about 1.5 years ago. And so as I began permanently absorbing pods and docs and taking copious amounts of notes and transforming them into articles that I didn't even consider publishing at the time, I started to build lists of my favorite movies, shows, pods, comedy, books, social media profiles, creators, third-party media brands, YouTubers, websites, articles, etc., really whatever. And I would just manually rank and review all the most entertaining and profound media streams that I interacted with for, many years. So it started with, ranking my favorite entertainment media streams and creating these playlists of what I deemed to be the most important YouTube videos and Spotify podcasts. And that gradually morphed into doing things like posting my top 200 movies on Twitter, writing a 27-page review on Game of Thrones back when people wrote 27 pages without AI. And then I started to get gritty on, different rank and review apps like Letterboxd, Goodreads, likewise. And then came the spreadsheet system era. So after spending a couple of years just building rankings and curating playlists and writing, I started to compile mass amounts of media into spreadsheets and sort them according to media stream and according to topic. I'm talking about tens of thousands of articles, videos, books, websites, social media posts, all forms of media streams sorted by category and at scale for what is now This and That Media's big time topics of the UFO phenomenon, free energy and non-human intelligence, CIA operations and the deep state, dark side of geopolitics, ancient civilization theories and their religious overlap, psychedelic and consciousness research, quantum physics, and of course the money runs the world section. And so I started uploading all the links I had saved down in the previous years in a civilized manner, and of course have been building the sheets out ever since then. And now I've compiled this master system that has all these categories mapped out to the teeth. I'm talking like 100 of the craziest CIA operations or 100 of the craziest UFO sightings all mapped out. And for each of those 100, I have saved down like 20 plus articles, 10 YouTube videos, other social posts, 10, 20 documentaries or podcasts, a few books, and a couple other miscellaneous media streams for all of those topics. And, literally almost every class in college, I was just getting freaky in the sheets, if you will. You guys don't understand how obsessed I was and how obsessed I still am with finding about the truth about our reality. And so for every paper I publish, all the references are linked. I keep the receipts. So when I drop my 25-page bangers on, 9/11 alternative theories, JFK inside job theories, or, the patterns of free energy suppression, Project Stargate, Project Blue Book, you can see all the streams of media that caused me to come to the conclusions I came to. And so originally, I didn't even really know why I was starting down this road to begin with. Ever since I listened to my first Rogan podcast during that gap year, and he said something about, being talking monkeys on an organic spaceship hurtling through infinity, I felt compelled to, start watching and listening to actual truth-seeking media. And, I've been documenting my journey ever since. And so at the beginning of my time in this never-ending rabbit hole in 2020, I had no clue what I was actually doing or why I was doing it. But I now know that I was stockpiling ammo for what is going to be the biggest media dynasty of the 21st century. So welcome to This and That Media, aka TNT. This is podcast number 0. And the slogan of the media brand is This and That, a guide to superior media consumption and a quest for truth. The gold mine and the red pill. Diverse rankings and in-depth reviews on the entertainment streams of movies, shows, podcasts, docs, social media profiles, and stand-up comedy, as well as written dissertations and organized information catalogs on the UFO phenomenon, the deep state and CIA operations, ancient civilizations, psychedelics, quantum physics, and true spiracies. And the name of my brand, This and That, is especially significant in these times of political polarization and divisive mainstream media sources, as I urge people to, open their minds by engaging with content contrary to their preconceived notions of the truth. We mustn't limit our sources and thus beliefs to just one side of ambiguous topics, but rather we must absorb all types of media in order to garner a truly multidimensional understanding of concepts that are deeper than they may seem at the surface. And that's kind of been my leading thesis these past 5 years as I've consumed all types of media and produced all types of media. And so in addition to the media brand, the websites, the socials, and the podcast, I'm developing a subversive social media app also called This and That. Obviously, it's a futuristic social rank and review app that triples down as a data aggregation site and AI matchmaking platform. I'm not going to go into too much detail about the app since it's still in the early phases of development, but it's going to drop around April or May of 2026. I'll start advertising it more in the coming months. And not only is it going to forever change the landscape of social media and forever synthesize social with utility, it's going to make humanity more transparent, authentic, and curious as we evolve past this digitally superficial era. I did say the biggest media dynasty of the 21st century, and honestly, anything short of that, I will consider a failure. All I can hope is that I don't become a martyr in my pursuit of truth surrounding some of the most controversial and censored topics of all time. Check me out at thisandthatmedia.com if you want to tap into real truth-seeking media, and sign up for my app at thisandthat.app if you want to join the social renaissance and be an early user of the platform of the future. And so now, welcome to the vision, the big time topics, the red pill. The soul of my media brand revolves around the quest for truth slogan, as I have become a dedicated truth seeker about the nature of our reality. So This and That's big time topics include government secrets, the dark side of geopolitics, the craziest CIA and intelligence operations of all time, effectively the deep state category, the UFO phenomenon, the existence and suppression of non-human intelligence and free energy, ancient civilizations, and more precisely lost civilizations, and the missing record of human history before the last ice age, the Younger Dryas cataclysm of 10,000 BC, the ancient apocalypse, and the overlap between the core of modern religions and these lost civilization theories. Money and power structures, who controls what, how they keep it hidden, talking big pharma, big energy, big food, big corps, BlackRock and Vanguard, free energy, planned obsolescence, military industrial complex, Federal Reserve, etc. And then we have psychedelics and consciousness research, the alternating brain chemistries of different psychedelics, the benefits of microdosing, ego death, the DMT realm, the DMT entities, and kind of the overarching theories that psychedelics may act as a portal into the multiverse. The quantum realm, simulation, multiverse theories, quantum computing, quantum mechanics, entanglement, double slit experiment, string theory, the search for the theory of everything, the quantum physics and UFO overlap, and why science looks like magic at times. And so the primary focus of this episode will be to outline these topics and then highlight the best examples, case studies, best resources, people, and brands that I have been researching over the past few years. These subjects form 6 interconnected categories that I believe are crucial to understanding our world, and in my opinion are the most important topics in understanding the truth about humanity and the reality that we inhabit.